Hello, class, and welcome to Module 3. In this module, we'll be working on CLO1 and CLO2. And as always, we want to read this disclaimer. While there are no date restrictions on your module, focus on completing this before the fourth week of class if you want to stay on a weekly schedule. This video will be located here in the Module 3 intro video required viewing. And then we want to go over our Module 3 overview and objectives and reading preparation. So the overview, students will learn and understand wastewater collection and preliminary treatment. The objectives are to examine how wastewater is conveyed from the source to a wastewater treatment facility, assess the impact and causes of odors in a collection system, and explain how to mitigate the negative impacts for a community. Differentiate between the various methods to maintain and clean sewer systems, understand why preliminary treatment is necessary, and compare and contrast the different types of preliminary treatment methods and their benefits. So you start looking at the process a little bit more. In the last module, you did the tour of your wastewater treatment facilities. Now you understand a little bit more about the processes. So the reading material is the Wastewater Treatment and Disposal 1, Chapters 3, which is on wastewater collection, and Chapter 4, which is on the preliminary treatment, and you'll also have your math tutorial PowerPoint. So now we want to look at that math tutorial. And it's coming up slowly, but you can also, remember, you can also download this PowerPoint. But you can see here, I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger so that you can see it. It goes through just like the other PowerPoint for Module 2, the different parts that you need to understand, the questions and the calculations and the problem set up. And so that'll help you understand the math that you will need for wastewater treatment. All right, so now I'm going to go back to our Module 3. All right, so that was the math tutorial. The supplementary online video resources. So these are really important to help you understand the different parts of the wastewater treatment process. These videos will help you to understand and actually see visually what those different processes are and what it looks like for the treatment. And then underneath for these two, those are the transcripts for those videos. So now let's look at what assignments you have for this module. So the activities for this module, you have your Module 3 math assignment, and that's based on the PowerPoint. And then you have your lab. So I want to talk about the lab in a moment. I'm going to talk about that last. You have your Module 3 quiz. All our quizzes are set up the same way. And then the Module 3 AI Design Preliminary Water Treatment System Assignment Preparation Activity. That is a very long title. All right, so for this one, this is going to cover modules 3 and 4. So it's very important that you give yourself plenty of time to do this particular assignment. So you will submit it in module 4 and module 3 text box. You're going to put the phrase, I have read the assignment and understand the instructions. I introduce it in Module 3 to give you time to really work through and give yourself time to really understand the assignment and to ask any questions that you have. And so you are going to do an AI research and design. So you're going to use an AI tool such as ChatGPT, Dolly, Canva A, Bing, Image Creator, or any other approved platform that you are familiar with for your AI tool. And you want to research and design your preliminary treatment facility. You're going to generate at least two AI created drawings or diagrams of your system. So example, the process flow, equipment layout, and the schematic. And then you're going to do a presentation. All right. So you're going to create a PowerPoint presentation, a minimum of 8 slides that includes your title and introduction, the purpose of the preliminary treatment, your proposed system design, drawings and diagrams created with AI, justification of why your design is effective, potential challenges and limitations, and the conclusion why the plant should adopt your design. You're going to record yourself presenting your slides, okay? You are explaining the system as if you are pitching it to a decision maker at a wastewater treatment plant. You're going to upload your video to Canvas or provide a shareable link if you're using YouTube or Google Drive, okay? So, very important when you're creating this video, you do need to be present in the video because you're doing the pitch for this wastewater treatment plant of your design that you created with AI, all right? And so you are going to use the file below to help you through this assignment. So you have your instruction sheet and you also have prompts and tips, okay, for using AI. And so go through um, those two attachments to help you with this assignment. And remember, for this first portion, for Module 3, you just need to submit this phrase. Okay, as long as you submit the phrase, you get the points for Module 3. But the actual video is going to be due for Module 4. So remember, your video needs to be 5 to 8 minutes, very important. It needs to show your slides from your PowerPoint, very important. And you need to be visible in that video, very important. All right. And so once you get those uploaded, then I'll be able to watch these wonderful videos that you post. And then if you have any questions, let me know about that. All right. So let's see what else we are doing for this module. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the lab, okay, because you're doing your first lab for this module. And so if we look at the instructions for the lab, you can download the instructions, but I'm going to go through them here. So we are doing the determination of biological oxygen demand, also known as BOD. So you are going to learn, and I'm going to show you the virtual lab that you're going to perform with this, but the lab information given is the aim, the theory, pretest, procedures, simulation, post-test, and reference. So each section must be included in the lab report. You're going to type a lab report based on what you did in this virtual lab, okay? So the virtual lab, as I'm going to show you in a moment, outlines the procedures that you're going to do for this particular lab. You want to remember to include 2 pages, 2 of the pages along with the body. Your first page is your title page, and your title page, you want to have your name, the title of the lab, the date, and the class name on that title page. And then on the last page, you want to make sure that you have a reference page. You're referencing this particular website. And so if you don't know how to do an APA reference for a website, you can simply Google it and say, I need an APA reference, and then copy and paste the website, and it'll give you what the APA reference is. Okay, and you want to make sure that you include that. The other thing that you want to include in the body is you want to include the aim, which is similar to the background or the purpose of the lab. You want to include the theory. You have a pretest that you're going to do, so you want that to be listed next. You're going to do like a summary of what your procedures are, what the simulation is, or what you're going to be doing, then the post test, and then your reference. Okay. In the simulations portion of the lab report, you want to include what your results were. All right. So let's look at this virtual lab that you're going to be doing for the first lab. All right. So we're going to be determining Determination of biological oxygen demand. So this is our aim. And then our theory, this gives us the introduction. This gives us our calculations that you're going to be doing. These are the different measurements that you're going to do. And so this is all in your theory. So you want to summarize that. You want to include those calculations in your lab report. This is your pretest. So in your pretest, you're going to do, you're going to answer those and then submit it. You want to do a screenshot of how you did on your pretest, and you're going to include that in your lab report. Then you have your procedures. So this is what you will be doing. These are the step-by-steps of what you're going to be doing. All right. And so you'll see these are your BOD bottles. You're looking at pipetting your sample into your BOD bottles. And so it's going to go through and show you, all right, how to do a BOD. All right, and the importance of biological oxygen demand on wastewater treatment processes. And then the simulation. This you're going to go through, okay, and actually go through the steps of the lab and make your own BOD bottles. It's kind of a cool lab. I really like it. All right, so then you have your post-test. So your post-test, like your pre-test, is going to give you questions to help you understand what you did in the lab, okay, and learn more about it. You're going to submit the quiz. You remember you're going to take a screenshot of your submission, and that's going to be included in your lab report. And then you have a simulation demo video, okay? You can always watch that experimental demo in case you have questions on what this actually looks like. All right. So that is your lab report for this particular module or your lab that you'll be doing. All right. Right here is the submission. All right. This is your submission box. So this is where you're going to submit your lab report. Very important that you have all the parts for your lab report so that you get full credit. If you have any questions as you're going through this module, as always, please let me know. Enjoy the module.